Hi guys, George here, and today I'm going to hopefully bring to you a very short video about the top 5 overlooked rules. In no particular order, that's my perspective. Um, you may or may not agree with me. In other news, I'm still trying to figure out a good theme song for the channel using the old trusty guitar here. It's a mini guitar actually, it's not a, a full-blown guitar. And my youngest son was using it for his first lessons, and I kept it. Yamaha. Sounds pretty good. Let's see if we can come up with something here. Yep, let's do that again. See, doesn't sound too good. Let's one more time. Not bad. Still doesn't sound like Painted Black. Oh well. On with the show, guys. Yeah, it's really frustrating. I really need more practice. Yeah, maybe the tab will help as well. Anywho, top 5 overlooked rules. We're playing the game, and we don't take into consideration these rules, or we completely are oblivious to it while we're playing the game. And in the meantime, I read a blog written by Jim Bishop where some of these rules mentioned, right, are among the common things that top players do in playing the game. The most successful players do not overlook them. Now let's go on and look at rule number 1. There you go. Rule number 1, dash. Um, so it must be this is not by all means a tutorial, so it's not an exhaustive and it's not an exhaustive detailed look at the rule. It's just an overview. I highly recommend that you do the research after viewing this video. Look at the specific rule item and do more research to get more acquainted with it. So just a high level overview. Dash, it must be announced before executed. There should not be any movement factors expended before. The unit dashes from a non-open ground hex across a road into another non-open ground hex, and the destination hex is, if it's outside of the enemy's line of sight, it's considered a non-open ground hex. And another condition is the unit dashing must expend less than the total movement factors it's allowed, and the attacker's fire on the unit is considered area fire. So rather than taking a full-blown attack on your moving unit, you can opt to dash to get the cover, and your opponent will fire at you at half firepower. But I'll tell you something. In my experience has been if your opponent is pretty lucky and he loads well, even a 2-down-2 attack can really do harm on your unit. So use it with a bit of caution. All right. So that's number 1. It should have been a countdown, but I'm counting up. Oh, well, number 2, snapshot. Now, what does the snapshot entail? So a unit is moving between adjacent between 2 buildings, and there's a gap of open ground in between. You should look at the example right under Rule 8.15, Alpha 8.15, for more detail. And your opponent has line of sight on the 2 hex side focal points, if you may, and that gives him the opportunity to fire at you in open ground without any FNAM or FFMO being applicable, right, at half firepower again, as opposed to firing at you at full strength with a +1 modifier or +2 modifier in the in the uh, in the hex where you're planning to go to undercover. Why is it overlooked? Well, most players that I know have a hard time determining if you have line of sight to the target hex to begin with. So imagine how hard it is to determine if the LOS is eligible for a snapshot in between two hexes that have cover in them and open ground between them. It's really difficult, and you need I think you need to if you want to make the decision at a snapshot or a click of a finger, you really need to be very familiar with the loss uh, status of the board you're playing on. So again, experienced players, yeah, they won't overlook that, but people that have just started, like myself, I haven't been um, in ASL not even a decade or half a decade. Prior to that, it was plain old squad leader. Uh, I'm not sure if snapshots were available in GI Anvil of Victory, but playing COI and SL, you wouldn't have an opportunity to use a snapshot, but it is there in Advanced Squad Leader, and successful players don't lose a chance at using it. So something to work on, I suppose. All right, number 3, gun duels. Gun duels. So basically, with gun duels, I'm not sure if I got that rule correct. C2.2401. Let's double check that. Should have done this before, but let's take a look at that rule in the rule book. C2224. Yeah, C2401 gun duel. So basically, in a nutshell, you're the attacker. You're approaching an enemy AFV. He declares defensive first fire on you, and you declare a gun duel, and then it's based on the lowest fire base to hit. Uh, Again, this is a global overview. To hit modifiers, the person that has the lowest fires first, and if they're equal, the combat is considered simultaneous. I've never had a chance to use gun duels successfully so far. Um, Again, this is one of these uh, rules that is advocated by and cheerleaded by the more experienced players in playing ASL. Um, you basically get to attack and fire first. Um, so you can imagine how powerful this rule is. And it's worth looking into in more detail. Hmm. Something to ponder on. Number 4, concealment and CC. Well, that's something I kind of got acquainted with this year or in 2021, more or less. So, um, concealment counters, when there is a dummy stack, it's removed right away. You have to show first off the bat, according to the advanced sequence of play, um, uh, you got to show that firepower actually exists there, and if you can't, dummy counters are gone. Um, you enter into close combat concealed, and that's a powerful strategy or powerful tactic to really overrun your enemy OB. You get a -2 DRM for ambush. Again, that is something that is an asset in close combat. A -2 DRM, add that to a leadership DRM, and you almost certainly have a high chance of gaining ambush. Again, half firepower attack is at half firepower. If you're going against a concealed unit, the concealed unit defends at full strength. So again, another advantage. Um, so it's worth noting that if you are planning to use close combat as your uh, principal uh, source of attacking a defender, uh, noting that you're gaining concealment or maintaining your concealment is of paramount importance can mean the difference between a game win or a loss. And on to the last one. Sniper. Sniper activation number. How many times have players rolled your sniper activation, and because of the consequences of the attack, because usually SANs activate on a low number, 4, 3, 2, and the consequences of that attack are influencing you. They're demoralizing you as well. And I just noticed this is not supposed to be an after action report. Hold on, guys. This is tips and tactics. Okay, so let's do that. There you go. Tips and tactics. Just turned on the proper banner. Right. So you completely forget your sniper activation. And guess what? You roll a 1 or a 2 on a single dice roll. That sniper is bound to hit somewhere, right? It's either going to break someone, it's either going to pin someone, it's either going to wound a leader or outright eliminate a leader. And in ASL, unlike Starter Kit, if your opponent rolls the Yahtzee, wow. So he's firing a unit, let's say a half squad, and he breaks a half squad or he breaks 3 units, but you have the possibility of retribution using a lonely sniper, a lonely old sniper. By the way, picture in the picture is Sergeant H.A. Marshall of the Calgary Highlanders Sniping Platoon in Kapellen, Belgium. Got that photo off of Wikipedia. It's part of the comments, so everything's good. So, moral of the story is don't overlook sniper activation. Now, there's also in 14.1 a little sentence that says, any such DR that can yield no game result other than a SAN is not made. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean I cannot simply fire my infantry at a blank hex just to try and trigger a sniper? Or does that mean that since that unit fired on an already pinned unit, well, and he gets a pin result, there's no need to roll the pin result again? Well, that's true, right? But what if there are consequences where your opponent says, well, you did fire in that unit, but there are no consequences other than a possible SAN, so I don't have to roll. Has happened to me a couple of times. And to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not sure to what extent uh, and how that little sentence is supposed to be interpreted in that rule under 14.1. I think the safest bet is that you can't make a roll that would result in nothing other than a sniper check. In other words, rolling against the woods at half firepower when there is no hip units on the board, and whatnot. I suppose that's what they meant. Can it mean anything further than that? I'm not sure. The way I prefer to play the game is we talk it over with our opponent, and if we don't agree on the rule, just roll a die and play it the same way twice, and let go with the flow of the game. That's about it. You know, um, it is about competition. It's also about having fun and being cordial with your opponent and being grateful that you do have an opponent to play day after day, week after week, and you're enjoying your hobby. That's the way I see it. Speaking of the hobby, I'm going to Caslo 26 in a couple of hours. I have my kit ready. Unfortunately, I was only able last minute, more or less, last minute, about a month ago. I started, um, I started punching and trimming. I'm not clipping, I'm trimming. And I wanted to make a video about that as well. My counters, uh, I managed to put Beyond Valor and Yanks in storage. In storage meaning in a storage solution for the counters. I have my maps also organized. My scenario cards also organized, except a couple of that I bought from third-party providers rather recently. So I'm going with that kit to Castle 26 in a couple of hours, and I hope to have fun. I know I'm going to meet there Chuck Texbury, Doug Rimmer in person, Dino Limosani, uh, Colonel Major Garvin is going to be there. I was about to call him Colonel. Oh well. Nope, Major. Unless he's a rank increase since the last time I saw him. That's going to be great. I'm not sure if Colonel Dan, forget his last name, Pinocchio, from No Enemies Here is going to be there as a journalist. I'm not sure. I hope he had the time to make it. If not, it's a shame, but I wish he was there. I'd like to meet him in person. And that's about it. Now, I hope to put in the description a link to some of the Jim Bishop blogs that relate to these rules in the description. If you don't see it, it's because I didn't have time to do it. I usually have very little time to edit my videos, and they go up unedited to the best quality of my abilities. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I wish you uh, a happy holiday for all my Canadian friends on this weekend. It's a long weekend in Canada, and have a great week ahead, guys. Enjoy the game and roll low. Take care. Bye.